Thank you very much, first of all, Honourable MEP Benteler, for that introduction. I see that the challenges are big, but also the future is bright. So thank you so much to the young prize winners and for their vision. I was very much intrigued about their reflections on introducing science into plugging it more systematically and in a systemic way, science into policy. I think it's really our common challenge. I think it's a question of communication and knowing where to be at the right time in order to influence. But they have also the scientific solutions, which I think can make a lot of sense. I'm very pleased to be here today and celebrate the 50th anniversary of EuroGeoSurveys. Particularly thankful to Secretary General Dr. Julie Hollis, where is she? There you are, for the invitation, and I'm looking forward to open this session on a vision for the future, a geological service for Europe. Let me start by recalling why I believe EuroGeoSurveys has a key role to play in these uncertain times. As you know, we are indeed facing unprecedented situations with several crises intersecting: geopolitical, energy, climate, environmental, recovery from the global health crisis. Not to mention, of course, the inflationary bubble that we're all struggling with. These crises have made us aware of our fragility and the urgency to act and assume greater responsibility for our own security and values. The unprovoked and unjustified Russian war of aggression against Ukraine has put further strain on supply chains. It has highlighted our dependence on Russian energy sources and contributed to inflation, itself a major factor of change for our economies, our daily lives, and our way of living. In the call issued in 2021 in our Horizon Europe work programme on the support to the activities of the European Geological Services, we were already flagging some of those challenges, and I quote, "The growing demand for energy, raw materials and water is a key challenge for Europe, requiring a more integrated, efficient and sustainable use of those resources. Europe is increasingly dependent on global supply of mineral resources, in particular on those needed for application in power generation, energy storage and transport for the transition to climate neutrality. However, until now, there is no complete and harmonized data at European level on mineral resources and reserves." End of quote. The research and innovation activities we have launched under Horizon Europe work programmes targeting a sustainable, secure and competitive energy supply have the ambition to contribute to, firstly, making Europe the first digitally enabled, circular, climate neutral and sustainable economy through the transformation of its mobility, energy, construction and production systems, and secondly, promoting an open strategic autonomy by leading the development of key digital enabling and emerging technologies, sectors and value chains to accelerate and steer the digital and green transitions through human-centered technologies and innovations. We were then, of course, pleased that in her annual State of the European Union speech a month ago, our President von der Leyen announced a number of initiatives to make the EU more autonomous and more resilient, one of them being the European Critical Raw Materials Act. It will contribute to securing the provision of rare earth and reduce our dependencies to China in terms of access to resources, refining and processing. It will notably aim to identify policy actions necessary for developing strategic projects to strengthen the EU supply chains while maintaining a sustainable level playing field. We are fully aware that this debate founded its origin in the European Strategy for Critical Raw Materials prepared under your leadership, Honourable MEP Benteler, to boost strategic autonomy and resilience in the supply of critical raw materials. A paragraph in the European strategy captured particularly our attention, and I quote, notes the Commission's plan to roll out Earth observation programs and remote sensing for resource exploration, operations and post-closure environmental management. It points out that in-service regulatory oversight can be enhanced with the use of remote sensing methods. This was indeed not the first time that the request to better leverage Earth observation technology for geosciences was issued. In 2020, European Commission's Action Plan on Raw Materials, which is one of the 10 proposed actions, is to, and I quote, deploy Earth observation programs and remote sensing for resource exploration, operations and post-closure environmental management, highlighting the importance of space-based infrastructure to the sector. The new European Agency for the Space Programme gathered a few weeks ago the space community in Prague. Interesting enough to be noted, the EU Space Week first session was about collecting user needs and requirements from the renewable energy sector. The session was supported by an information document from which I extracted also the following paragraphs, and I quote, "While maturing is improving, the Earth observation sector does not yet offer fit-for-purpose, turnkey solutions for the mining industry, and the data products available on the market do not integrate well with the industry's workflows and systems. Moreover, Earth observation solutions are losing the competition to the current way of working because of the high cost of change barrier that needs to be overcome. Given the increasing demand for critical raw materials, but also the societal and environmental challenges related to mining, there is a growing need for Earth observation solutions that can enable new exploration, planning, operations, and monitoring capabilities." And end of quote. In the previous programs and in the current Horizon Europe program, we have included numerous calls to investigate Earth observation-derived solutions to address all the aspects of the climate and green transition. EuroGeoSurveys participated successfully to various Horizon 2020 projects, such as eShape or GeoCradle, and was able to pilot the use of Earth observation data into services to the citizens, the industry, decision makers, and researchers. Well, talking about bringing science to policy making. Still can be done, more can be done. EuroGeoSurveys could take advantage of being a recognized participating organization in GEO to contribute to its next strategy, the so-called GEO Post 2025. The start of this year of the Geological Service for Europe project, GSEU, represents indeed a unique opportunity to provide data and expertise on the European subsurface to support acceleration of the green transition, particularly in relation to raw materials, geoenergy, groundwater, coastal vulnerability, and offshore wind, using to the maximum extent the possibilities of Earth observation. There will, of course, be other opportunities with the upcoming publication of our next Horizon Europe work programme for the years 23-24, which will be published by the end of November. This includes as well the Horizon Europe missions, and in particular the one called A Soil Deal for Europe. It will build on subsoil data and the expertise of EuroGeoSurveys and the Geological Surveys in deploying interoperable data infrastructures, which will be of paramount importance. To conclude, the European Commission is fully committed to make the Copernicus and EU research programmes work hand in hand for the development of Earth observation solutions, climate models, and data storage and exploitation in critical areas we must deal with very urgently. The 2023 Commission Work Programme adopted last week confirms our commitment to prepare our society to those inevitable changes. It includes activities to boost Europe's strategic autonomy on critical raw materials to help ensure an adequate and diversified supply while prioritising reuse and recycling. It recognises as well that, and I quote, digital solutions will be key in making our economy more efficient and less resource intensive. Thank you very much for your attention.